Okay, today we're going to do the last video before the AP exam. So let's take a look at question number 1. We had to find the due to x of t. So we get the v of t, which is the x prime of t. So due to of this would be each term. So if I due to of the 7t, that will be 7 minus due to 4t squared. 2 times was 8, so we become 8t. And then over here do parentheses, square, and times. Substitute t inside. Due to of t is 1 minus, because you add square, so therefore parentheses square, you put 0 inside, and then due to 0 is 0. So you simplify it. So you get 7 minus 8t plus t squared minus 0. Now v prime equal a of t. So now you divide due to of this. Due to of 7 is 0, and then minus due to 8t is a, and then plus due to of t squared is 2t, and then you simplify, you get negative a plus 2t. Now let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, we had to find the r prime of x, and this is an integral. So you define the due to of the integral. So the same concept, this is the integrand. So you copy it. When you see t, you put parentheses. So g parentheses plus 2 parentheses, and get ready to multiply something. So what should be inside the parentheses is this, the f. You put f of x, and then you put f of x. So what's due to f of x? F prime of x, and then subtract bracket. So you will see the t, you put parentheses, okay? And then what number should we enter? 1. Due to of 1 is 0. Now you simplify, so you get g of this. Just copy. And this holding is 0, so it's gone. So we finished. This is r prime of x. Now let's take a look at question number 3. Number 3, part A. So we have a table over here. So we say that the f of x and g of x are differentiable. So you have to find the part A. So now you have the d dx of g inverse. So you have to find the due to of the inverse of the g at x equal to 6. So you have to say 6 comma what? So now you look at here. Because inverse function, the x6 is a y value on the original function. So therefore you have 1 comma 6. So here becomes 6 comma 1. So you have to do 1 over g prime of 1. The corresponding point on the inverse, the reciprocal is going to be the slope. So you have 6 comma 1. So therefore 1 over g prime of 1. So the slope are reciprocals. So now you have to find the g prime of 1. So g prime of 1 is negative 3. So it will be 1 over negative 3. So now see my dear, if you had to find the due to the inverse of the g of x at x equal to 4, that will be 4 comma what? So you have to go to the y value over here because inverse function. So 4 comma 2. So if for 2, it will be 1 over g prime of 2. So g prime 2 is negative half, 1 over negative half. And then you divide or simplify, you get negative 2. So now let's take a look at part C. Part C. So over here, we know that you had to find the limit x tend to 1. You get f of x minus 1 over 2x minus 2. So first thing you should do substitution. So you get f of 1 minus 1 over 2 times 1 minus 2. F of 1, you got 1. So you get 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2, you get 0 over 0. So that means you have to use the L'Hopital's rule. So how do we do L'Hopital's rule? So we have to find the due to of the numerator and find the due to of the denominator. The due to of f of x is f prime of x minus due to of 1 is 0. Due to of 2x is 2. Due to of 2 is 0. Now we simplify. So we get f prime of 2, f prime of x over 2. And now we're going to do a substitution. So we sub x equal to 1. So you get f prime of 1 over 2. So let's take a look at what is f of prime of 1. F prime of 1 equal 2. So you get 2 over 2. So which is 1. Now we're going to do the same thing for this one. You have a limit x tends to 2. The first thing you do is to substitution. So you get 5 times g of 2 minus 10 times 2 over 2 minus 2. You have g of 2 is 4. So you get 5 times 4 minus 20 over 2 minus 2. You get 0 over 0. So what should we do? So we are going to use the L'Hopital's rule again. So the L'Hopital's will tell us to find the limit. Okay, x tends to 2, find the duty of the numerator, which is 5 times g prime of x minus 10. Duty of x is 1 minus 0 because duty of 2 is 0. Now we're going to simplify. So you get 5 times g prime of x minus 10 over 1. So now substitution. Okay, g prime 2, g prime 2, you get negative half. So now we just simplify. So we finished, okay, part D. So now let's take a look at number 4. So we had done similar question before. The first thing you do is substitution. So a times e to the negative infinity plus 60. And then you found out this becomes 1 over e to the infinity plus 60. 1 divided by huge number 0, so you get 0 plus 60 equal to 60. So we finished number 4. Now let's take a look at number 5. Okay, number 5. Number 5, we have a graph given to us. Okay, so this is the graph of f of t. So now we have to find the g of 0. So g of 0. So g of 0 equal to 5 plus 2 to 0 ft dt. So now we are going to find the integral from 2 to 0. This is not the correct order, so therefore we have to swap. When you swap, you have to put a negative sign in the front. Okay, now we're going to do 0 to 2 ft dt. So 0 to 2 is this much over here, from here to here. So this is going to be the area below the x-axis, so it has to be negative. So negative half times the base. The base is 2 and the height is 2. And then we simplify it. So you get negative 2. So over here becomes 5 plus negative, and bracket. This part is the part that you got over here, negative 2. The integral itself is negative, and then you have the negative to come from the swap of the a and b. So now you got become 5 plus 2 equals 7. So g of 0 equal to 7. Now let's take a look at, okay, part B. Part B, find the average rate of change of g of x. Average rate of change of g of x, so I mean g prime of x. So we're going to integral 2 to 5 g prime of x dx over 5 minus 2. And the entire derivative of this will be g, so it becomes g of 5 minus g of 2 over 3. So we define g of 5 and g of 2. So let's go back over here. Let's find g of 5. So g of 5 equal to 5 plus integral 2 to 5 ft dt. So 5 plus 2 to 5 is here to here. So we had the area below the x-axis and plus the area above the x-axis. So negative 1/2. Okay, 1 and 2. And plus this one is 2 by 2. So 1/2, 2 times 2. So now we're going to have 5 plus negative 1 plus 2 because it's cancelled. So now you're going to get 6. And then we have to find g of 2. So you get 5 plus integral 2 to 2 ft dt. So the integral 2 to 2 is 0. So 5 plus 0 equal to 5. Now we go back over here. So you got g of 5 is 6. G of 2 is 5. And then we simplify. So we got the answer, 1/3.